Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And let's get right into the meditations today. I have the 2 Melody Beatty books with me, and I of course have A Year of Positive Thinking, Daily Inspiration, Wisdom, and Courage by Cindy Spiegel. So let's get right into these books. All right, let's read from Cindy Spiegel's book first, A Year of Positive Thinking. It is July 2nd. I can't believe that we're halfway through the year so far. It's crazy to think that, isn't it? All right, July 2nd, tolerance. Not one of my favorite words. Courageously take the time to notice your own self-righteousness. It limits how loving and accepting you can become. Listen to the stories of others. Be more accepting of people who think differently than you do. That doesn't mean that you have to change your beliefs, but it does mean that you have to accept the beliefs of others without judgment or defensiveness. Everyone deserves the right to be who they truly are, including you. It's interesting to me that she titled this Tolerance. Now, I will tell you, I do not love the word tolerance. And the reason I don't love the word tolerance is because I think that I think it indicates assumption that when I have an issue with somebody, okay, and I tolerate them, or if somebody has an issue with somebody else and I tolerate them, okay, I don't necessarily like them, I don't like certain things about them, but I tolerate it, right? And it, to me, is such a condescending personality trait. I don't love that word. I think if you feel as if you have tolerance towards a certain person or whatever, then what that should do for you is be a red flag for lacking acceptance in your life towards people, all people, okay? And people's different belief systems and whatever. And you know, it's interesting because at points in my life, I have had to check my tolerance, so to speak. And it was years ago. I don't know when the switch happened for me, but I've talked a lot about my spiritual beliefs on this channel before, as well as on my vlog, you know? And when I first got sober, I was very much like, if I would hear people talk about God or whatever in a meeting of recovery, I was always like, oh, they're Bible thumpers, like I don't want to, hear about that. And I was actually just sharing this the other night. I think I talked about this on my vlog, but it was interesting because I am such a spiritual person today, and I am such a, I have a higher power, which I call God, and I'm such a God-centered person today, I think, and I don't talk tons about it, because it's a private issue for me, but I'm not ashamed of talking about it in a way that I would never have talked about it, in the past. And the other thing is that, I didn't have any negative experiences religiously growing up. Like, I don't know where that came from me, except that I think, being gay and not being out to the world and feeling that certain religiosities or people around me that were religious, I went to school with a lot of kids that were very religious, that I felt like that judgment came from that place. And so I think that I was always kind of like that, right? And so I had, to some degree through my life, been very tolerant of very religious people, and I would always say things like, as long as they're not preaching to me and as long as they're not Bible thumping to me, I'm totally fine with them, right? So, like, if I want people to be accepting and loving and compassionate towards me, I have to be compassionate and loving and kind towards other people, right? And I don't know what switched in me. I don't know when it was, but I started realizing that just because that's where somebody comes from, or that's where their point of view begins, does not mean that I'm like really trying to form the words correctly. It doesn't mean that they're a negative person or that they're a hateful person or that they're a hate-filled person. It can come out in different ways. It can come out in fear. I had a very close friend of mine that at one point, like in our lives, she was having birthday parties that were thrown by drag queens, and all her friends were gay men, and then all of a sudden 5 years later she got very involved in the church, and she was talking about to me one day on the phone about how being gay was a sin. And I'm like, excuse me? And she's like, well, I mean, it's not as bad as murder, but it's worse than, the R word. And I was like, what? Like, I mean, I really was just floored by this point of view, right? And I remember I called my mom, and my mom was a woman of very strong faith. And I said to my mom, I said, I'm really just, this is a friend of mine that I've had for almost my entire life. And I was like, at that point, I was like 24, 25 or something. Oh, maybe a little bit older than that, 26, 27 maybe. And my mom said to me, she said, it's fear is what it is. And a lot of people hide behind religion because of fear, because I don't know how to deal with the world. And I think it was at that point that, and I wasn't accepting of her overnight. It was actually many years before she and I really ever talked again on any kind of deep level. And not my mom, the friend. And but I started looking at religiosity in a completely different way, you know, and I started meeting people where they were at. And I started realizing that it just like recovery is a language that I speak, that religion for a lot of people is a language that they speak, and that not all of them come from a place of, you know, whatever. I can remember when we first met our friends, Melissa and Jason, who were very involved in their church. And just out of the blue, they said something about, like, it was like the first time we had gone to dinner with them or something, and I said, oh, what are you guys doing tomorrow? And it was like a Sunday, and they were like, oh, we're going to church tomorrow and whatever. And I was like, oh, well, you know, and being in recovery, I ask people a lot, like, where do you go to church? Because a lot of people in recovery are active in churches. And I said, well, where do you go to church? And Melissa told me where she went to church, and then she's like, you know, you're more than welcome to come anytime you want. She's like, but there's a lot of gay couples that come, and it's very open-minded church and whatever. And, you know, it was really interesting to me because I have had people witness to me in my life and, you know, tell me, like, you need God and you need to be converted and being gay is a sin. I've had that in my life, right? That's one thing, okay? I think that's where the tolerance began for me. But it's a different thing when somebody is welcoming to you, okay, in a Christ-like way, and says, in a Christ-like way, and I mean that from, like, as a person of compassion and kindness and love, okay? Just like I would say that about Buddha or anybody else, right? So to say to you, like, you're more than welcome to come whenever you want. And I was like, and I started realizing that as my attitude changed about being tolerant about religion, and instead of in that meeting people where they were at and learning and asking questions about their belief systems and where they went to church and why they went to church and what it did for them and all that kind of stuff, what I realized was that my attitude changed a lot. Once I started becoming accepting of them, they started becoming pretty accepting of me, you know? And I think it was really realizing that it's the, you know, the human equalizer of we're all living the same experience. We just have different things, you know? And it's like, I remember, you know, Oprah talking about pain, and she said, you know, but that's what you do with your pain, and I do something different with mine. You know, we all have pain, we all have hurt, we all have love, we all have faith in something, you know, whether that's lack thereof or a belief system. You know, we all have these things in our life, but the way that we speak them is from a different point of view. So, no, I don't feel tolerant of people today in my life. I feel accepting of people in my life. I feel excited to learn about the people that are different than me, or people that have different mindsets than me, or different experiences or different backgrounds, you know, today. I get very excited about that. And, you know, when I meet roadblocks in my life with people that are tolerant of me and are like, can't see past certain things, you know, I just continue to try to be myself. And, you know, it's like, there have been a lot of people in my life where that when I have met them, I've been like, you know, I want them to meet me first and see Peter, and Peter is a good person, and Peter this, and instead of Peter, the gay guy, you know, blah, 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 whatever. And I think over time, what's happened is I've had a lot of people that have come to me and been like, you know, like, I really was pretty negative and thought like being gay was a sin, and you kind of like changed that. You like challenged that thought system for me, because when I met you, like, I was like, he's just like everybody else. Andy's a spiritual person, Andy's in recovery, and all this kind of stuff, you know, and it really changed my point of view about you a lot, you know, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just a human being like everybody else that loves, you know, in my heart, and it's just, you know, it's just not that deep, you know what I mean? So I think it's like less, if we're feeling that tolerance inside, it's like, what can I do to be more accepting of this person? What can I do to really try to learn more about their experiences, you know? And, you know, I have a friend of mine who, like, their family is pretty religious. And one night we were talking, and I said something to my friend, and I said, you know, I think it's because, about a family member that they were sharing with me, and I said, I think it's because of fear, you know? It's like, they don't know what to do with all of this, so, like, fear is they stand behind this. And my friend was like, I never thought of it that way. Like, really? I'm like, well, I just learned it from my mom, and I'm passing it on to somebody else, you know? Plant the seed, right? So that's a good meditation. All right, let's read from Journey to the Heart by Melody Beatty. Da-da-da. Okay, July 2nd. Wait, August? My husband is walking downstairs. Okay, I stopped the camera because Alex was walking out to go hang out with some friends. All right, July 2nd. What would make you happy? Why don't you make yourself happy? Did someone tell you you couldn't be happy? Couldn't let life help you out? Couldn't let life help you out? It doesn't matter who told you you couldn't have what you wanted. What matters is if you're still telling yourself that now. Yes, There are many situations in life in which we need to go without, do what needs to be done, and get the job done. There are times when a particular purpose is served by depriving ourselves, but there are also situations, many more than we think, in which we can have what we want. There are moments when what we want matters. Look into your heart. Ask yourself what you want, what would feel good, what would bring joy. Is there anything to be gained by depriving yourself a while longer? Get creative. Look around. What are some ways you could give yourself what you want? What could you do to create your life more to your liking? Giving yourself what you want isn't selfish. It teaches others they can have more of what they want from life too. Use your imagination. Set yourself free. Let yourself see the pictures and feel the emotions of what would make you happy. Then take a moment, pause, and smile. You're beginning to get a glimpse of all you can have from God. I love this meditation. And it's interesting because I was just talking to a friend about this earlier today, and my friend has like so many things going on in her life, and she's got this with family, and this with their partner, and this with, somebody else, and this with work, and, and she's like, I don't really know what to do, and I'm like feeling super overwhelmed by all of this, and I'm just worn down, and I'm overwhelmed, and I don't know what to do. And I said, well, obviously you can't get rid of these people or these situations in your life, nor do you want to. You love your partner, you love your family, and all this kind of stuff. But can you selfishly, just a little bit, set some boundaries in your life? And, I was like, I've had to set boundaries in my life. I've had to realize that I just had to set boundaries with a lot of my relationships in my life, in the past that have brought me some negativity, or I'm just like, you know what, I'm not willing to continue to engage in this anymore. I'm not willing to continue to just have this emotional roller coaster go on. And she was like, yeah, I could set some boundaries. I never really thought of it that way. And, I think it's really hard for us when in life we have these relationships with people that we love, or we have these situations with work that we need, right? And it's like, well, you're not going to go into work and say, okay, well, I'm not working weekends anymore. They'll say, okay, well, we'll probably find somebody else that will, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's in kind of negotiating boundaries in life and saying, these are the things that are ultimately important to me, And it's like, being able to say, I need to go do this, or I need to be able to do this that makes me happy. I need to go work out for half an hour, or I need to take a bath, or I need to do a face mask, or I need to read a little bit of a book, or I need to watch a TV show at the end of the day, right? Like, those are all selfish ways to take care of ourselves. I think with family members, sometimes it's like, if we have that family member that we have to help or take care of, and it's a lot, and we're just like, it's a lot. And we're just like, I can't do it, Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But maybe you don't have to do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Maybe you can ask for help, I think one of the things that the battle cry of the martyr is that they will never ask for help. It's always like, look at all of these things I do for all of these people. Well, have you ever asked anybody to help you at all? Like, have you ever said like, hey, can you clean the kitchen? Can you put the dishes away? And I'll take the trash out, but can you do that for me? And I think it's hard for some of us, like in the past, it was hard for me to ask for help. I've learned over time that people want to help, and I like helping other people. So when people ask me for help, and say, hey, can you help me with this, or can you help me with that? I love doing that, right? So other people want to be asked too. They want to be part of your life. They want to help in ways that they can because they love you, So ask for help. You don't have to do everything alone. And I think that there's this martyrdom and look at everything that I do, and I take care of everything, and I get everybody everywhere else. So what's your reward for that would be my question, so that you can let the world know how hard you work. But the reality is you're really drained, right? You're really worn out. You're really overwhelmed, okay? And so the reward isn't really paying off that well, except for that you're giving yourself a pat on the back. Because I bet in life, most people aren't going to you like, oh my God, like you deserve a reward. You deserve a trophy because you are the best person in the world for doing all this stuff, right? Ask for help. Don't think that you can do it all on your own. And if you have to do it all on your own, figure out time management. I can do this, I can do that, I can do that, blah, 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 whatever. I can't do it all. And realize to yourself and say that. I can't do it all and take care of myself. And this is a really important thing that I say a lot in my videos, that like, if you're going to take care of other people and you're going to be doing a lot for other people, make sure that you're taking care of yourself first. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, you are no good for anybody else, And that doesn't mean selfishly that you just take care of yourself and you take yourself out to lunch and shopping every day and pedicures and hairstyle. All that thing is fine too to do, right? But like, you know, it's about balancing out that a little bit and setting some boundaries with people in your life, asking for help, and then also selfishly taking care of yourself to some degree, even if that just means give me 15 minutes to take a bath every day, you know, like where I can just relax and soak my sore body. You know, sometimes it's just not that deep, you know, or, you know, read a meditation book before I go to bed, or watch a Peter Monn video, or a Netflix show, or have a little bit of ice cream or whatever, you know. It's not much. It doesn't have to be deep things. And trust me, those small gestures will make a huge difference in your life. So anyway, let me know what you think about those meditations in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.